All right, so this topic is going to be 2.1 vertex form of quadratic functions. I'm just going to pick quadratic. All right, so there are several different forms for a quadratic function. It's actually 3. The vertex form is really the most useful one. But the vertex form of a quadratic equation is going to be of the form f of x equals a, and then in parentheses, x minus h, outside the parentheses, squared, and then plus k. All right. And then the vertex of a quadratic is going to be like that very, very bottom point or the very, very top point. That's the vertex. And if we know vertex form, then we can just look at the equation. So it's the x part of the vertex is going to come out of the parentheses, and the y part is going to come from the outside. Now, because the form has a minus there, when we're doing the vertex, we do the opposite on the x, and then we just bring the k down. Right? And then the axis of symmetry is a vertical line that cuts the parabola in half. So it's always going to be equal to x equals the x part of the vertex. All right. And then A is going to determine the width of your parabola, and it's going to determine the direction of opening, if it opens upward or downward. Now, one thing that's going to be just a quick review, because we just tested over it, is the transformations. So vertex form shows the transformations of a quadratic equation in respect to the parent function. And the parent function is just y equals x squared. So all of these other parabolas that we graph are going to look like it, but be shifted or stretched or compressed or flipped. So let's take a second and just review the transformations. So the parent function is just y equals f of x. Number 1 has a plus 9 on the outside, so that's going to be up 9. Number 2 has a minus 2 on the outside, so it's going to be down 2. Number 3 has 2 transformations. So one of them is the negative on the outside, and that's going to be a reflection on the x-axis. And then adding 5 on the inside is going to be left 5. Number 4 also has 2. Subtracting on the inside is going to be right 4. And subtracting on the outside is going to be down 1. Okay. Number 5 has 2 transformations. Multiplying by 1/3 on the outside is going to be a vertical, almost messed up, a vertical compression. And then adding 2 on the outside is going to be up 2. Right, and then finally, number 6 actually has 3. So the negative is going to be a reflection on the x-axis. Multiplying by 2 is going to be a vertical stretch. And then adding 4 on the inside is going to be left 4. Okay, and then number 7 is one that's a little more challenging. So we're given the transformations and we're going to write the equation or the function. So when we write a function, we have to call it a function. So we have to name it. So I'm just going to call it f of x. You can call it y. You can call it g of x, f of x, h of x, whatever you want. So it takes the parent function, which is the quadratic function y equals x squared, and we're going to reflect it over the x-axis. So I automatically know I'm going to have a negative right after the equal sign. Right? And we're going to shift up 7 and 3 to the right. So because I'm shifting to the right, I know I'm going to have parentheses. All right, and then to make sure it stays a quadratic function, I need that square on the outside of the parentheses. So right 3 means we're going to have x minus 3 inside of our parentheses, and up 7 is a plus 7 outside. Okay, and then I'm just going to add something to this question. It didn't ask for it originally, but I want to go ahead and just practice finding the vertex. So if I'm going to find the vertex from this, so this is in vertex form. The x part comes from inside the parentheses, and you change the sign. So it's going to be, because there's a minus there, it's going to be positive 3. And then the y part comes from outside, and we don't change the sign. So that would be 7. And we'll go ahead and do the axis of symmetry also. So once we get the vertex, finding the axis of symmetry is pretty easy. You just have x equals the x part of the vertex. All right. And then for number 8, we are going to do the vertex axis of symmetry. And then we're just going to use the graphing calculator. We're going to use the graphing calculator to get a graph. All right. So remember, for the vertex, you look inside the parentheses and you change the sign. So if there's a minus 2 there, the x part of the vertex is 2. And then the y part comes from out here. Okay. And then for the axis of symmetry, it's always x equals the x part of the vertex. So x equals 2. Okay, so I'm going to pull up the calculator and show you guys how to type this in. So I'm just going to clear out anything that's in here. All right, so in y equals, I am going to type the function in just like it looks. And then I actually want to go to the table. All right, and we already said that our vertex was 2, negative 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down until I can put that 2, negative 3 right there in the middle of my table. Now, I know I'm in the middle of my table whenever there are this number at the top and the number at the bottom is the exact same number. Okay? So that's the table I'm going to put on my note sheet. So I just automatically put the vertex in the middle and then fill in the rest of the table from the calculator. Right? And then I'm going to graph whatever will fit. Now my graph I have here doesn't go all the way to 12. So negative 112 is kind of off the graph. That's okay. We have lots of points we can graph. So 0, 7 means over 0, up 7. Over 1, or right 1, up 4. Write 2, up 3. Write 3, up 4. And write 4, up 7. Now I can't go 12 also, but this is my shape. Now a parabola is kind of a U shape. It's going to keep on going forever and ever up. That's how you graph. All right, so we're going to do one more, number 9. We're going to look at it first and determine our vertex and our axis of symmetry. So it's kind of tricky to find the vertex. So the x part of the vertex, we always take out of the parentheses, but if there is no parentheses, that means the x part of the vertex is 0. Right? And then this minus 4 over here is the y part of the vertex. Right? And then the axis of symmetry, x equals the x part of the vertex. Okay, so I'm just going to go to my calculator, clear that out, and type in my new function, x squared minus 4, and then go to the table. And I kind of did this fast last time. To get to a table, it's second graph. Okay, so I want to scroll, and so my vertex is in the middle. My vertex is 0, -4. So 0, -4 we'll put right here in the middle. And then I'll fill in the rest of my table. And then all of these points should fit on my grid. All right, so your assignment is to do the back of this, the second page, complete that worksheet.